Okay, are we doing this? Yeah, we're doing this. The story I'm gonna cover in this video happened very close to my hometown in Poland. It is one of the loudest, most shocking cases in the country, and it baffles people to this day. A quick disclaimer. Even though the cases I will be covering are quite sensitive and potentially heavy to some of the viewers, I want to present them in a light and tame way. But if you're easily upset by incriminating events and actions, then maybe this video isn't for you. That's it. You've been warned. But if you are as weird as me and like creepy stuff, I will soon upload some extra scenes, bloopers, and materials to my Patreon. So if you feel like feeding your curiosity and supporting my work, the link will be in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to keep track. In my video, I will not use the victims' surnames out of respect for them and their families. I will, however, use the culprits' full names, because frankly, I've got no respect for degenerates like that. They deserve to be exposed and shamed for what they did. This year marks the 42nd anniversary of a dark crime that happened in Poland, near a small village called Zrębin in 1976. When my family told me about it one Christmas, years ago, I swear my first thought was like, nah, seriously? Like hell I would believe that our district has a history of some dark overlord shit. But okay, I'm listening. The night of December 24th to 25th, 1976. Police receives a report from a driver about a stolen coach that was supposed to transport people from a midnight mass in Połaniec. The car was soon found, but along with it, 3 bodies were discovered on the side of a road leading from the town of Połaniec back to Zrębin. The scene looked like a sloppy imitation of a car accident going terribly wrong. However, as it turns out, there was so much more to this triple crime than anyone could have imagined. The motive? Hatred towards the victim's family and revenge, rooted long before the unfortunate 3 people were even born. First, let's take a look at the victims. 18-year-old Krystyna. And hear me out here. She was 5 months pregnant at the time of the 1976 events. 25-year-old Stanisław, Krystyna's husband. And Mieczysław, or Miecio for short, Krystyna's 12-year-old brother. Their lives were taken in front of 30 witnesses. Everyone knew one another. They were born and grew up in the same town. Despite that, no one said anything or prevented the crime. I know! But wait, save it for later, there's still so much more to the story. So what really happened that night in 1976? Why not even one of those witnesses stepped forward to reveal the names of culprits? Could this crime really had happened because of some meat stolen from a wedding? Don't worry, we will cover everything. Yeah, including that meat story. Moving on to the crime scene. From the initial investigation, yes, it did look like a car accident. But digging a little deeper and we are met with clear signs of a foul play. Miecio, the 12-year-old boy, was run down by a car, later identified as the Fiat 125P. At that point, it could have still looked like an accident. Could have, had the culprits decided to stop. But you can probably guess that's not what happened. As for the other 2, Krystyna and Stanisław, they had been beaten to death with a dull object, a wheel wrench. Interestingly enough, Krystyna was later also partially stripped to pose an assault attempt. But then how did it even make sense if the whole scene was supposed to be a car accident? This is where things are seriously not adding up. And as I mentioned before, what's even more terrifying is that this crime had more than plenty of eyewitnesses. They knew who was guilty, but none stepped forward and pointed out the killers. All of them remained silent, as if they were bound by a pact to never speak of the truth to anyone. You mean to tell me there was some kind of conspiracy involved? Gee, this story is getting so twisted. You ain't seen nothing yet. Jan Sojda, the one who orchestrated the crime, also known as the King of Zrębin. You know, every town has that one douchebag who believes he's invincible and above the law because of his wealth and connections. Well, Sojda was it. He was rich, the owner of a huge land, and had the only phone and tractor in the village, which gained him quite a strong position since people were eager to work on his farm to use what he had. Now let's go back in time a little bit further, to when Soida was 20 years old. He was young, rich, and what would be a standard chick flick movie's definition of a spoiled brat and a player. The point here is, he was convinced that he could take whatever he wanted. And he did. It was an innocent girl from the village. He did get arrested for sexual assault, and one of the police officers who arrested him was Jan R., grandfather to the latter victim, Kristina. Soida was put in jail for 8 months. What? 8 months? He got 8 months for not being able to keep it in his... God damn it, Pond. You better have stricter punishments for it now. Okay, where are we? Right. Soida arrested by Kristina's grandfather. You follow? Yeah? Okay, good. So he serves his time. Only 8 freaking months. And gets out. So a little while after that, Jan R's 10-year-old son is accidentally shot by Soida's friend, Chaos, and dies. The friend was explaining that he was aiming at a dog. Everything coincidentally happened on Soida's land. Am I the only one who finds this sketchy as fuck? Oh, and later that same friend dies in a car accident. Okay, who else thinks that Soida had something to do with both of those accidents? Okay then. So, let's jump forward and stop a few months before the events of Christmas Eve 1976. The past family feuds seemingly had long been forgotten and everybody seemed to have moved on with their lives. There's a huge celebration in Kristina's family. The young couple is getting married. And let's briefly enjoy the entirety of Polish wedding reception here. There's lots of food, and I mean a hell of a lot of food. Lots of alcohol, questionable dance moves you're gonna regret later when you see yourself in the wedding pictures. So everyone is having a blast at the party. It's all great and swell. Until, as it turns out, Soida's sister, who was helping bring food to the hall, was accused of secretly taking out some meat and skedaddling from the kitchen here and there. And let me tell you, back in the day, meat was precious to people. Like ex-Albert Crazy Eyes Hermit precious. So the lady's being accused of stealing the food, and her brother, yeah, the same one who got out of prison, was involved in some shenanigans in the past, etc. Yeah, him. Oh boy. When he heard about it, you know things were gonna go down a slippery slope, like down a hill of how dare you disrespect my family and to the valley of dark overlord villain's promise of vengeance for this major insult. The hosts, however, seemed to have taken his words lightly.
So, that went okay. Maybe we shouldn't have called her out like that in front of everyone? Nah, it's fine. What? Are they gonna turn all supervillain on us? Come on, no one is that vicious.
Classic foreshadowing, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like they should have paid more attention to his dark overlord aura thing going on. You know what? Here, let's play a fun game of Where's the Bad Guy? Fast forward 4 months and we are where we started. December 1976. Christmas Eve. Jan Soida, the king of Zrębin. Józef Adaś, Soida's brother-in-law. Stanisław Kulpiński and Jerzy Socha, Soida's sons-in-law. Soida rents 2 coaches and a taxi car to take the people from the town to the nearby church in Połaniec, about 4 or 5 kilometers away from Zrębin. As per people's tradition, some of the revelers don't go into the church. They'd rather keep the party going in the bus. Everything seems fun and chill, but it is, as you call it, the calm before the storm. At one point during the mass, somebody, most probably one of Soida's accomplices, comes up to Kristina and tells her that her father is going batshit crazy at home, and that she should probably head back. They hoped they would be able to catch a ride on the bus. I mean, it was December in Poland. Outside, it was probably like minus 700 degrees, so no wonder ain't nobody wants to walk in this godforsaken weather. You gonna do something about it? People are freezing down here. Sir, God, universe, a little help? Soida just smacked the coach's door in their faces, saying, "Those scum can walk 5 kilometers back to Zrębin in the snow." So they walked, not realizing who was coming for them. Soida and his crew, along with the innocent passengers, headed towards Zrębin, and after the 3 young people. Soida's son-in-law, Jerzy Socha, was driving ahead of the coaches and got to the 3 victims first. He hit and ran down Mieczo. Kristina and Stanisław rushed to his aid, since the boy was miraculously still alive. However, they were instantly attacked by Soida and his brother-in-law, Józef Adaś. Stanisław was beaten to death first, with the wheel wrench. Krystyna tried pleading with the attacker, asking him to please spare her and her unborn child. But Sojda didn't listen. Here's the part I found the most horrifying. When the attackers saw that the young boy is alive, they came back to him, dragged his body back on the road, and drove over him again and again, multiple times. The whole thing was witnessed by people on the bus. Drunk people, but not drunk enough to not know what horrible thing just happened. After all was done, Sojda came back to the coach, to the frightened and terrorized witnesses. He pulled out a rosary, told each one of them to step forward, kiss the rosary, prick their finger and sign a pact with their blood. Swear they will never speak of what they've seen. He also paid each one a fair amount of money. It was a combination of magic rituals, religion, and corruption. I know, ridiculous, but people believed it, feared it, promised, and kept quiet as planned. And let's stop right here for today. You'll hear about the aftermath of the crime, details about the investigation process, and the trial itself in the next episode. Also, when I wrote the script for this, it ended up being 16 pages long, so that ain't happening. So what do you guys think of the case so far? Would you testify despite all the circumstances? And how do you think the case unravels later on? Got some theories? Just leave them in the comments and I will be sure to read them. And one more thing. I am a huge fan of this podcast series called CRIME JUNKIE. The hosts are amazing in what they do. They give a lot of detailed insight into, various cases, not necessarily well known to the public. You can find them on Spotify or go to their website, crimejunkiepodcast.com, and listen to so many cases. It's crazy. Oh my god, I would love a collab with those awesome girls one day. Okay, this is my shout out to them. Ashley, Britt, if you want another detective on the case added to your team, maybe animate one of your podcasts, just hit me up in my email or DMs and I will be sure to respond. Yep, that's pretty much it. If you like the video, subscribe, like, and click that bell icon. Okay, now that's everything. Stay safe all, and keep tabs on me. Until the next time.